I'm David Swift from SightCall. I'm the VP of Product Marketing. I'm here with the David Steckel, Head of Product Innovation at Sears, and we are happy to be here at Field Service USA right now. There's a lot of really insightful discussion. Welcome to SightCall Sessions podcast.
I mean, thank you very much for having me. I've learned a lot at this conference. It's great. It's a great conference. You're learning a lot about routing, dispatch. Everyone's kind of going through the same digital transformation themselves. So it's nice to be amongst peers.
Yeah, definitely. And we got to have a great panel discussion earlier, and I kind of want to reference that for our viewers on the podcast because you had some really interesting insight around AI, Gen AI specifically, as well as nuance on how you're approaching a transformation at Sears right now for field service.
So really, the exciting opportunity for Sears right now is the time in which we're choosing to move forward into our digital transformation, because we're deciding to refactor the entire tech stack and the entire customer experience at the same time as the paradigm shift towards AI is happening. So what that's really allowing us to do, and specifically what I'm doing, is you're taking down the entire customer journey from submitting a request through execution. And we're doing this on the tech side as well and internally. And we're asking ourselves, since we are refactoring the whole experience, are we going to build it the same, or is there a better way this time? And so as we're doing this, we're still operating one of the largest appliance repair companies in the US. So every day you're getting more and more information coming in to help guide you towards the decisions. But practically how this is looking with an example for us specifically is understanding the customer themselves, the end user, the homeowner for us. And nothing matters to them more than the fastest path to the resolution of their problem. All they care about is, my fridge isn't working. Get this done quickly. Tomas last night was talking about his fridge repair taking a month. That's unacceptable now. 20 years ago, there were fewer options. Now there's dozens of great options. And so as we're moving in our digital transformation, it can't just be how can you be, the same as the experience today. We have to be different. And then we have to take this time to not just look at table stakes experience, but leap ahead. So everything we're looking at, and that's hence working with SightCall actually, leveraging great technologies that are cutting edge, focused on singular experiences that we can do, but we're also building out our product and engineering infrastructure. So how it works with tying it all together there, if speed is what's important to customers, like the fastest path to resolution, that translates to cycle time as our operating metric, probably everybody here. And then if we are leveraging SightCall, we can diagnose a large percentage of our jobs before we roll a truck and then order parts, which means we're going to reduce truck rolls, which will then reduce cycle time and also improve customer experience. And then there's just this sort of flywheel of then the NPS goes up, referrals go up, our partners who drive us demand, the algorithms will choose us. So that's just one example of one part of the customer journey that we're transforming using the latest technologies.
That's really exciting, really exciting. And as an innovator, I'm sure you've heard some innovative recommendations from folks here. Maybe there's some themes that have been surfacing. So have you gotten any ideas from this conference or from folks that you've spoken to?
I wouldn't, it's funny. I wouldn't say it's ideas. It's just watching the similarities. So 5 years ago, there were comments around every tech company or every company needs to become a fintech company. And even with the conversation yesterday from Schneider Electric, and also what I'm doing, and probably a lot of other people, is how can you convert transactional revenue to recurring revenue? So that's a huge theme, which means LTV becomes important.
Right.
And I believe you're even doing this as well by creating ancillary services, candidly to build a moat around my business so that I can't churn, but I'm doing that around everyone else. So the thing that I'm pulling from this is really this pivot towards an LTV versus transactional focused business, which ultimately ends up meaning how can you get additional jobs next year? build moats around your customers so they can't leave.
Yeah, yeah. The customer lifetime value, I mean, it's across every single sector. It makes sense. And field service is absolutely no exception, right?
Well, it's actually more difficult now because cost of acquiring a user is higher because you're competing on the same places. So let's Google, whatever it is, but access to Google and keywords and performance marketing has become more available. So now there's more people fighting for the same keywords. And then compute and AI and all these other products are allowing more companies. So there's a ton more competition. So CAC to LTV is what really determines the success of a company. And so because CAC is going up, we have no choice but to drive LTV going up because you can't really increase the average order size. So now you just must keep getting more orders.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. So I'm curious to kind of lean into some of the themes that I've heard, I mean, around Gen AI, and everybody's talking about it. And I want to kind of lean into it a little bit more with you, David, because I think that what you've described in terms of kind of shifting the curve left or getting some automation involved in your business is something that everybody here is talking about and looking to do. And I'm sure our listeners and viewers would love to hear some of your perspectives.
So there's actually a really great book. Everybody can read it. It's called The Automation Mindset. And it actually gets quite technical, but 80% of the book is very digestible. And it talks about how you can create sort of an automation layer in your business, which will allow the business to start creating automations. And then your tech infrastructure is more approving and helping to orchestrate the automation. So specifically what we're doing, we looked at every stage of the customer journey, as well as the technician journey, as well as internally. And we're asking ourselves, what can we automate quickly? And so one of the things we're doing is we're creating, and for lack of a better term, just imagine GPTs. So for every stage of the customer journey, from customer creating a request, to getting a response, to converting the ticket, to did they respond to the notification we send out the day before? Hey, press 1 to confirm. We're creating SLAs, service level agreements, for each of those so that we no longer have a reactive customer support team. These SLAs are going to trigger notifications internally based on the customer behavior. And then we can then trigger outbound. So for example, someone doesn't respond to my technician is on the way. That's a tough one because then you don't want to send the truck if the customer's not home. So we'll be able to then initiate a call on behalf, whereas before the technician would have to do it. So we're creating all of these individual automations by stage. And then from an AI perspective, we're then creating sort of an orchestration bot to then be communicating with all of these different GPTs so that anytime a customer reaches out to us or anytime we want to find information on a job, we're just going to simple text message, not from phone, but like a text-based message. Hey, what's going on with job 1, 2, 3, 4? Or, hey Sears, where's my tech? It will then speak to the different GPTs, pull back the information and distribute it.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, is that you're defining the use cases along the journey. And I think this idea of this broad peanut butter spread of AI across everything, I mean, that's not realistic. And that's a lot of the issues when you come to a conference like this. You hear, oh yeah, AI everywhere, put it in everything. We have Copilot that's going to understand all of your data. Well, that's not really, I think, what people are looking for. And I think your perspective and how you're approaching it is very insightful, and I mean, certainly a customer journey guide for a lot of folks out there.
Well, and then even your internal business. So I think I talked yesterday about a large percentage of our orders require some sort of manual intervention. So forget AI, but how can you just automate that so you're spending less human hours? So we OKR, and our key results are about the number of manual hours or the number of tickets that require manual intervention. And this one's not as simple as SLAs. This one is, say if there's a part back ordered or no longer available. There is a very strict process that you have to follow to understand where do you get the part, which vendors do you call, how do you respond to the partners. So we've started process mapping every single one of these. And in a large business, you're going to have 50, 60, 200 different processes. But you need to map them out rigorously, and you need to put the effort in. And then you can start automating steps of that process and ultimately each of those processes themselves. But that's what I think the misnomer around AI is. You can't just say AI fix this. You have to be explicit with what is the root cause problem you're trying to solve. Otherwise, AI will only help you with symptomatic problems or symptomatic solutions. You're never going to get to the root. So there was actually a really good conversation with some of the folks at Microsoft and on the panel about the catch-all of generative AI. It's just not accessible yet, where it can start looking at your P&L and coming up with OKRs and action steps for you and reading raw data. We have to do the work, and we have to make the data explicit and clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's something that everyone here sounds like they're struggling with, but also starting to do. And it's really exciting to see here at Field Service USA, everybody is sharing this knowledge of how to structure their data, what's the most important thing to them. And, you know, a lot of it is just around information and knowledge too. So thank you for sharing all this knowledge. This is a true knowledge transfer. And, you know, my final question for you is, what was your favorite interaction that you had here at Field Service USA?
I mean, aside from hanging out with the SightCall crew, I would say that...
Not the clown. Right?
No, definitely not the clown, although that's probably the one I'm going to remember.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, as I'm working through this, there were probably two. Sears is a 135-year-old company. Schneider's over 100 years old. There's multiple companies that are over 100 years old. That's fairly uncanny. And so when Schneider Electric was talking about his pivot from elevators and service to becoming a tech company, that was really inspiring. And seeing what they're doing, but also seeing that with continuous investment into R&D, your companies can last for 100 years. Versus sort of that like flash in the pan of what's been previous. So there's a lot of really exciting companies here that are coming on the way up. Then there's a lot of really exciting companies that have been here for over 100 years.
Yeah, we're amongst ancient ancient wisdom here. Well, thank you so much, David, for your time, and really looking forward to the progression of the SightCall Sears partnership.
It's going to be epic. You know, we're really only scratching the surface of what we're going to be able to do together.
Awesome. All right.
Cool. Thank you.